Wayne, would you join Michael Carrick as part of his coaching staff?
Of course I would.
Michael Carrick is the front runner to become that interim manager. Wayne, he's someone that you know very well. He's a friend of yours.
Yeah, well, I was with him in Barbados last week.
So he's going to have a lovely suntan on the touchline.
Yeah, no, so obviously none of us seen any of this coming. And Michael is a very clever person, and last time done really well. So he'll command respect from the dressing room. If that's the case, if Michael goes in, and yeah, I think it'd be a really good fit. What we're looking at now, you're not seeing any top managers available at this moment in time. I mean, like through history, you've been successful and won big trophies. So, do you go back to Ollie or do you go back to Michael? That's what it looks like. It's going to be one of them two, and certainly I know Michael better than I know Ollie. I think Michael will be a really good fit.
Michael Carrick's got a 100% win record, I think, during his time as an interim last time. So I think it will be good. I mean, look, a lot of us look back on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's time. I mean, in hindsight, looking at it, we played some of the best football we have done since Fergie under Ole. But I think Michael Carrick and Kieran McKenna were instrumental to that anyway. As his coaching staff. So it'll be good to see Michael Carrick come in with fresh ideas. But what I want to know is Wayne, would you join Michael Carrick as part of his coaching staff?
We can't lose him from the pod.
Of course I would. I think it's a no-brainer if that's the situation. But I think what the club needs is people around the place. So whether that's if Michael goes in, for instance, whether that's Fletch or John O'Shea or myself, whoever, it needs people around the club who know the football club, and Roy Keane. I think for me, I know Roy's had his opinion, whatever, and I said this early on in the season about Roy Keane going in. Having people who know the club, who care for the club, who understand what it takes to be a Manchester United player, I think that's where the club needs to be. And I've spoke about early on in the season where the club is, it's lost that identity, and it's lost that that family feel, if you like. I think this, whether it's Ollie, whether it's Michael, is an opportunity to bring that back. And whether that's the case, we don't know, but I think it's a great opportunity to bring the spirit of Manchester United back into the football club.
Is that what the fans want, do you think, Kay? Is that kind of they're just crying out to see something that they associate with Manchester United, the Manchester United DNA again?
I think a lot gets made of the Manchester United DNA. I don't think you necessarily need to have played for United to understand what it means to be a Manchester United manager, but I think it does really help. I mean, if you look back at like our two most successful managers in the past, Sir Matt Busby and Sir Alex Ferguson, none of them played for United. I mean, Matt Busby played for Liverpool and Man City, but I think at this stage, if you look at a lot of if you look at Bayern Munich, they've got a great setup in terms of the way they get ex-players to come in and take up a lot of the roles in the board and so on and so forth, because it allows a continuity to give people in that club the sense of what it means to play for Bayern Munich and how big it is, and it allows for a smoother transition. I think over the past 10, well, even more, longer years since we lost Fergie, I think there's been a lot of changing. There hasn't been a clear strategy. We've chopped and changed from one manager with a certain style to another manager with a certain style. But I think the fundamentals at Man United and what the fans really want to see is attacking football and people with a winning mentality. I think there's been players that have come to United, and even if they haven't looked like they're going to score or whatever, but just trying.
You want to see attacking football, but you want to see work rate and desire and hunger, and if you go back through all the United teams, United from the early 90s, say, which is probably more relevant. You look at David Beckham, for instance, unbelievable quality, but worked harder than anyone else on the pitch. Ryan Giggs worked harder than anyone else on the pitch, and that hunger, but they have the ability alongside it. But they have that willingness to run and fight and drive, and you make mistakes, you lose games. That happens, but if you work, more often than not, you get the benefits from that. And I think we're not seeing players players sprinting as hard as they can sprint or running as hard as they can, and that's affecting the results.
Wayne, this is all obviously very hypothetical. When Kay asked you, would you go in there? And I know there's a queue of ex-Manchester United players that are in the media, probably ones that aren't even in the media as well, that would want to go in there. But if you were to go in there, what would be, or if Michael was to go in there, what would be the first things that would need addressing?
Work rate.
Is it that simple?
And I know that sounds, yeah, it sounds simple, but work rate and running and hunger and fighting. I watched, it was really interesting, I watched Chelsea tonight, Liam Senior's first game, and I've seen Chelsea players running harder than I've seen them running all season. I know he made a lot of changes, but you get your rewards, and then your players with the ability and your match winners and players who can dictate the game will be able to do that so much easier if you have a work rate, and we're not seeing players do that, and it's sad.
This is maybe going to sound a bit silly, but how do you get that work rate? Like, what do you do? Because it sounds so simple to me that players, when I watch a team, I would expect the team I support to have a work rate. How do you get that out of them if they're not doing it at the moment?
I think there's no consequences for a lot of these players. You got somebody like Diego Dallo. I think he's what? I'm so surprised at how he's managed to stay at the club as long as he has, because time and time again he makes mistakes and there's no consequences for the action. Like, what? I don't feel like if a player doesn't run, or if a player doesn't track back, or if a player doesn't give his all, I don't think there are any repercussions for that at the moment at the club.
Yeah, and that's difficult because you don't have the squad of players you'd like to change it. But then Manchester United traditionally is a club who has developed and brought academy players through. So while it's actually in this transition, throw them in. If the players aren't going to run, you throw them in. You give them an opportunity. I'm not saying the players. I've done it all the time, but there's certain players who you see who are cutting corners, and that's costing the team.
Okay, the criticism, or critics of this, would say that both Carrick and Solskjaer, despite their history with Manchester United, probably don't have the history in terms of where they've coached before to be Manchester United manager. But do you think all of this conversation shows exactly why those two names are the only names really being mentioned at the moment? Because Manchester United needs something different at the moment.
Well, I just think, who are you going to get in for 6 months? You're not going to get like a Carlo Ancelotti in for 6 months, are you? You're not going to get one of the top managers in the world to come in. And I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing that you're getting people that have been at the club before to come in.
I think we forget that Ruben Amorim was 41.
Yeah,
He was a young man. I know he worked in Portugal, but he was 41. He was very young. You look at the Brighton manager. You look at obviously Liam Senior now going in at Chelsea, and Maresca at Chelsea. He'd managed once at Leicester before he gets the Chelsea job. But because he's foreign, we don't look at that. I know Ollie's a foreign manager, but I think I think personally, Michael Carrick, who knows the club, would be a great fit, because we're getting more young English coaches in.
It's great, isn't it?
No, but just I think at Man United, he knows that club inside out. He lives and breathes that club. It's same. Michael Carrick's son is in the same team as my son, the youth team. They're every week. Obviously, when he's not coaching at Middlesbrough, knows the club inside out, and that's what the club needs.
Man City at home and Arsenal away the next two games. Nice easy start for whoever goes in. Kate.
Yeah. Give it a week. Canners or Ollie, give it a week. Sorry, Fletch.
I mean, talk about being put into the deep end. Look, I think if it is Michael Carrick that comes in, I think it'll be great for the club. But again, I think a lot has been said about managers and stuff as well. I think, like we mentioned, the players and the board need to take a look at themselves as well. And I hope that Michael Carrick is given all the backing that he needs, and he gets all the staff that he wants and needs to give him the best possible tools at his disposal to get something out of these players. Because, like Wayne said, he's a great guy, and plus his management style is good as well. I mean, his Middlesbrough team used to play with the sort of principles that Michael Carrick had as a player. Like, they were strong in midfield, and they used to play from midfield forward. And yeah, I just hope that he gets the backing that he needs, because that's the most important thing.
I was going to ask you who your next choice for permanent manager would be, but it feels like we almost need to pause that thought a bit at the moment, Wayne, and just see how whoever takes over does for the next few months, and let Manchester United take stock and then reassess.
Yeah, I think long term, you hope Thomas Tuchel goes and wins the World Cup for England, and then I think he'd be one you'd certainly want to try and bring in.
Surely we'd want to keep him at England if that happens. Come on.
No, if he wins the World Cup, then go out there. He'd be the one you'd look at. But for whoever goes in now, it's an opportunity for them to go and. I think it happened with Ollie last time where he went as interim and he done well and he gets the job permanently. So whoever goes in now, it's an opportunity to show the worth.